Welcome to the Mission Business Podcast, a podcast about good business for those in the business of good. Brought to you by Your Part-Time Controller, LLC, also known as YPTC. I'm Jerilyn Dressler, Chief Growth Officer for YPTC, and I'll be your host for today's very special episode. We're sitting down with Jennifer Alleva, who became YPTC's CEO a few months ago. We'll be discussing her strategic vision for our firm and what this means for our employees, our nonprofit clients, and our potential clients. And now, my conversation with Jen. So Jen, I have the privilege of welcoming you today to the Mission Business Podcast. We have flipped the microphones. I think we only did this once before. But we're here to talk about your journey over the past, 21 years, which led to a change only 8 months ago. You are now Your Part-Time Controller's CEO. We have a new strategic partner, Eric Freint, our founder, retired. And for the past 8 months, you have been CEO. And we're just so excited to have this conversation with you today. So let's kick things off. Tell us about yourself. How did you get to be here? How did you get to be CEO of the 65th largest accounting firm in the U.S.?
I mean, so many things to be excited about in just that intro, Jerilyn. Thank you for that. And I'm really excited to turn the tables and have you interview me. But you also had a big promotion this year as Chief Growth Officer. So really proud of that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And the 65th largest accounting firm, that just really blows my mind. And I'm really proud of that as well. And let's talk a little bit about how we got there. And just to answer the first question, how did I get here? Where did I start my career? So I went to Boston College, and I was a business major. And during my junior year, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I called my father, who was an entrepreneur, and he said, become an accountant. First of all, you'll always have work. And second of all, you'll get to see every aspect of a business as an accountant. And that was great advice. My father he knew what he was talking about as an entrepreneur, but he also really wanted to live vicariously through me because he failed accounting his first try at Temple University.
It's not for everyone.
But I am so happy that I followed his advice. And my first job out of college was in public accounting, like many of our associates. And like you, Jerilyn, you also started in public accounting. I started with Arthur Andersen. You started with?
EY.
So stayed 8 years in public accounting. I actually really liked it. It was a great training ground. It was a lot of work. But I left there to become a CFO of one of my clients. As many public accountants do, they become friends and colleagues of their clients. So I went to work with one of my clients, a bank, and then left there a few years later to become the director of finance for a startup leasing company. So I got a lot of different experiences through public accounting, through being a CFO of a bank, and then being the head of finance for a startup company. But that startup company wasn't my favorite, and I decided to leave there, especially because I had 2 small children at the time, and I wanted to be spending some more time at home. And while I was at home with my kids, I decided to look around to what's out there for me, and started picking up some part-time controllership gigs on my own. So I worked with several companies, startup there as well, and one company that a gentleman was selling his business. So I was able to do this part-time controller gig on my own. Then I had my 3rd child and was able to take a little bit more time off, decide what I wanted to do next, and saw the ad for Your Part-Time Controller. And I actually faxed my resume over to our founder and president, Eric Freint. And I like to say Eric called me within minutes. And I got the job after several interviews, as we all have to go through at YPTC. And started working with nonprofit organizations that had issues with their financial management. And I will tell you that is those experiences as an associate working at YPTC, and it was part-time at the time because I had these 3 young kids, was some of the best experiences in my career. I feel like it's some of the most the largest successes of my career, because helping these organizations turn around from problem financials to understanding what their financials mean to them, and providing them information in order to make decisions, was really, I felt great about that. I wanted to add about, increasing responsibility at YPTC, how after I was working with uh, our nonprofit clients at YPTC for some time, um, I saw the opportunity at YPTC to help Eric grow the business. And I asked him for more responsibility. I wanted to get involved in sales, in recruiting. And then after that was successful, Eric allowed me to help in open new offices. And eventually, I worked in almost every aspect of the operations at YPTC.
That's so important. And Jen, I want to back you up just a bit because you talked about your first job out of college, but that wasn't your first job. A little birdie told me it began on a beach at the
Yeah.
Jersey Shore.
Yes. So, Jerilyn, I've been working since I've been 12 years old. I don't know if it's against child labor laws or not, but I was able to work at 12 years old. I was very fortunate to live at the Jersey Shore as a young person during the summers. And my mom's like, "Hey, get a little job, become a beach tag checker." And that's what I did. I checked tags on the beach. And for those that don't know, at the Jersey Shore, you actually have to pay to get on the beach, and they hire people to check that you have paid to get on the beach. And at 12 years old, I was walking up to large groups of adults and asking them, "Hey, do you have your beach tag?" And I think about that now, and I just have to laugh because I guess I had a lot of sass at that age, and I guess that helped me in my later career. I had a lot of other fun summer jobs. I served snow cones. I worked at an arcade. I was a waitress, and again, all those experiences helped shape me into my career today.
So let me ask you,
Yeah,
because your journey, from your early days of checking beach tags to your career in public and then at the leasing company, and you've just had this entrepreneurial spirit about you. And now you lead our firm. What are the pieces from those experiences that you think have really solidified your leadership style and how that translates into creating and maintaining the culture at YPTC?
I would agree with you that I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit, that I liked creating things, building things, and trying out new things. And I was always eager to raise my hand and ask for more increasing responsibilities. And I think that really has helped shape my career from the days of public accounting through all of the activities and the um, opportunities that I've had to work on at YPTC. And now I would describe my leadership style. I would hope to think that all of those experiences have shaped me into a transformational leader. And I would describe that as somebody that's inspiring and empowering. I hope that's what people think about me. I would also describe myself as a servant leader. What I think servant leadership is listening to those around me, especially our executive leadership team, our senior leadership team, and actually everyone at YPTC about their opinions and things that they would like to see at YPTC. And I listen. I listen, and I use the survey information from our staff to provide guidance on how we're going to run the company now and in the future.
So, from my perspective, I do agree with that, Jen. And I think it's interesting the way that we are structured, we have many markets across the country, both in person and remote. We can serve nonprofits anywhere. And I have seen you empower our leaders to really treat their markets like businesses. And I feel like you have set that example of, why that's important. And there's a great power that comes in that great responsibility and that ownership of, being responsible for all of the business in these markets. But it also, I think it goes hand in hand with transparency. And that, I think, is a really integral part of our culture, the way that we communicate and, the way that we treat each other with respect. We have our prime directive, never let a colleague be blindsided. And we know that that's great for our culture. But can you talk a little bit about why that's also great for our clients?
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought up treating each other with respect. At YPTC, for the 31 years that we've been in business, we've always followed the golden rule: treat others the way you would like to be treated. And I think that is, first and foremost, the way that we behave. And the prime directive that Eric coined long ago, never let a colleague be blindsided, is to always be communicating, over communicate. Make sure that our clients understand what we are doing for them so that they never have to ask, what's YPTC been up to? And God forbid, they're never blindsided with information that we did not communicate to them. So that has been one of the pieces, I would say, big pieces of our success over the years, is that great communication and ensuring that our clients know what we're doing, and actually educating them as well as to what financial management is for their organization, best practices, and helping them learn and grow as professionals in that way.
And it's all based on trust. And that, to me personally, is one of my values. And I know it's one of our pillars here at YPTC. So, our clients wouldn't continue to hire us and work with us if they didn't trust us. And so that really ties in nicely to how we do things here at YPTC also.
I'd also like to address trust from the perspective of our staff. We trust our staff to work independently at our clients' offices. There's that entrepreneurial spirit again. Independently at our clients' offices without a lot of oversight nor micromanagement from managers. We trust our staff that they are going to do the job right for our clients. We hire them not right out of college. They have to be experienced, and they go through a very rigorous interview process. But by the time they're through that process, we are very confident that we can trust those individuals to work with our clients and do a fantastic job. And I think that's one of the great opportunities for those that work at YPTC. They don't come in and be, they get to run their own show, if you will.
Yeah. And I love doing that when I was client serving. So I can attest that that's a great way to be treated, as a member of the team here. Let's talk about your vision for YPTC. So, we have a new strategic partner with Pamlico Capital. We underwent a 5-year strategic planning process, which was a first for us. I was so fortunate and happy to be a part of that. It really was it felt so good to know we were all on the same page with the path that we're going. But, what does that look like to you? What is the vision for you for the next 5 years, 10 years beyond for YPTC?
So the vision that I have for YPTC is to continue to be the largest accounting firm serving nonprofits in the United States. We are that now, and there's no other organization in the top 100 accounting firms per Accounting Today like us. But it's bigger than that, actually. It is about, when we talk about our purpose at YPTC, it's building stronger nonprofits. How do we build stronger nonprofits? We make our executive directors better. We make them better professionals. We give them better information in order to make decisions. And in turn, they're able to help their constituents even more. So whether they're an executive director of a homeless shelter, a food rescue organization, a school, they're able to help their constituents um, the best way possible that they can. And we're part of that. And that's such an exciting thing for us to have that purpose and to be that connected to honestly making the world a better place. But beyond our purpose on individual nonprofits is our mission. Our mission is to help as many nonprofits as possible. And that will in turn help us continue to be the largest um, accounting firm supporting nonprofits like we do in the country. But the mission goes beyond just our clients and serving them. We help nonprofits all around the country in many, many ways through our content, through our training, through our webinars, through speaking engagements that we do every year. And I just find that so fulfilling in the fact that you don't have to be our client in order to benefit from the knowledge and experience of YPTC. The other part of my vision is to provide incredible opportunities to our staff and to provide them with an employee value proposition that they will not get anywhere else. And I'm really, really proud of everything that we offer to our staff, including number one, accounting with a purpose. Our staff come to us because they connect with our culture. They connect with working with nonprofits. They love the fact, and we talked about this already, of working independently at their clients, having their own show to run at their organizations that they serve. The work-life balance that we offer, Jerilyn, the public accounting grind and other uh, firms and or companies are not going to provide the work-life balance that we have. Both you and I started out as part-time associates while our children were very young, and it gave us the opportunity to have that time at home that we needed, and also have a considerably fulfilling career. And then you can add to that all the great benefits, the compensation that we offer, including overtime opportunities. Now, we don't push the overtime, but we pay for the hours that our associates and staff accountants work. And that's, I think, a really important part of our employee value proposition.
I agree. And I think it's important that our clients know this and that our future clients know this because, who you do business with is a reflection of your values and your organization's values. And when I think about the time that I spent client serving, I was client serving for 12 years. And the relationships that I developed with all of the people at my clients, it really seemed to fit. And I think that because of what I valued that drew me to YPTC, which drew us, to my clients and all of our clients, it's like the hand in glove, and it made sense. And I think it was an easy choice for our clients to make because they can see very clearly upon talking to our staff, seeing our expertise demonstrated, seeing all that we offer and how we partner in the nonprofit sector. It paints a picture of who we are. And, that to me sets the stage for a very successful relationship.
Yeah. We can't have happy clients without happy staff. So it's a gigantic priority of ours. And also, one of my visions and for continuous improvement at YPTC is leadership development. Now, we define everyone at YPTC as a leader. You can't be working directly in our client service capacity or anywhere on our support team without being a leader. But developing individuals as leaders and providing them training and other learning opportunities to grow as professionals is so, so important to me. And that's why we have our Leadership Training Institute at YPTC led by our Director of Training, Mitch Rochon. And we continue to expand and grow that every week, it seems like. So it is, I think it's going to be, again, like for our future, it's a path for the future.
Yeah, even looking back at the in-person staff meetings we had in October, we talked about mindfulness. I mean, how many big companies out there are really focused on making sure that their employees they have the right mindset for how we're going to grow together as an organization, how we're going to provide the best service to our clients, and that we're all in it together. That was a really refreshing, different type of training. And I think that absolutely fits into that leadership training because it's not just technical skills. There's so many other facets of being a leader that we need to constantly be reinforcing with our people.
Yeah. Growth requires change, and change requires the proper attitude. I loved that training that we had this fall, including emotional intelligence and having the right mindset for change. And I really also think it goes to recognizing our staff's mental health and making sure that they're in the right mindset when they're working every day, and that they know that they have resources to turn to when they're struggling. And I would say we talked about trust as being one of our top pillars of our culture, of our pillars of culture, as we say, but support would be right up there as well. So I think all of that is an example of the support that we give our staff, all of that training that we had this fall.
Absolutely. So thinking, we just talked about your vision for YPTC, and you probably had a vision, before you officially became CEO, and now it's been 8 months. Has there been anything that surprised you or kind of made you shift gears a bit as you've progressed on this journey?
You know, I have been in the job for a little while as a managing partner, running the day-to-day operations. So I did lose my safety net with our founder, Eric, leaving. But and the change was gigantic too with Eric leaving, but also with our partnership with Pamlico that has been almost a year now. So I went into becoming CEO with um, at least a lot of experience in running the operations of YPTC, but also having this new partner that I felt very comfortable with going into it. Um, and we are gradually making it changes, but I would say my first few months, I probably changed a few things too quickly. And as I mentioned before, I listened to people, and a lot of our senior leaders spoke up and say, "Hey, Jen, I think you're moving a little too fast here. Maybe we should slow it down a bit." And I was like, "Really? I don't feel that way. I think that's just my personality." Actually, I know it is because we've done these personality tests at you, and I know I'm an arranger. I like to arrange things and change things a lot, but I have a blind spot. I have to be careful not to change things too quickly and do things without a lot of disciplined change management behind it. So I learned that in my first few months, and I think that was a really good lesson to learn early on so that we can make change, but make sure that it is in a logical and more disciplined approach.
I think it's so important for you to say that out loud. I think that really is part of your leadership style, that you learn publicly and that you can admit when something has not gone exactly as planned. I think there's this expectation, people of their leaders or leaders of themselves, that they get it right every time and that they're perfect on all fronts. And it doesn't work like that. It's a messy process.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been messy for us. And, I
Yeah.
do appreciate, Jen, your leadership and how you have made the change. I think for the most part, nearly imperceptible for most of our staff, because we still get questions like, now that we're owned by Pamlico, what's going to change? And it's already been almost a year, and things really have not
Oh,
changed drastically. So I think
then
that's a testament to, how well you and Eric work together, and also how he supported you, in your own journey and advancement to this role.
I would definitely agree with that. I think Eric had a gigantic part in my development as a professional, and I am grateful for that every day. I will say one of the things that I'm not surprised about is the partnership with Pamlico. When Pamlico became our partner last November, they promised that they were not going to be operators in the business, but more they would serve as advisors and consultants. And that is exactly what has happened. And that has been fantastic. And you get to know people over that process that we went through last fall. And I really trusted them. And I am very happy with how it's all turned out. We have gone through a 5-year strategic planning process together, and we're in lockstep about where we're headed in our future. And it is to continue to be the nonprofit accounting specialists with the purpose of building stronger nonprofits and the mission of helping as many nonprofit organizations as possible and keeping our culture the same, if not improving it along the way. So I couldn't be happier with that relationship. And I think it will just continue to grow and thrive.
So let's take that a little bit further, and maybe you could talk a little bit about how you see our firm's role evolving as it relates to our place in the nonprofit sector and helping even more nonprofits.
So we'll continue to be a thought leader in the nonprofit accounting and financial management space. We're going to continue to put out content pieces. We will expand our trainings for nonprofits across the country, both in person and on webinars. We are going to help types of nonprofits. We call them verticals. If you're a food rescue organization or animal welfare group or child care center, we're going to provide specific resources for those type of organizations. So we continue to be not only a thought leader for all nonprofit organizations, but also specific types of nonprofit organizations. I will also say we are a thought leader in artificial intelligence. We have a leader, Edwin Harvey, who's in charge of our AI solutions and training. And I don't think many accounting firms or many accounting firms our size or many accounting firms that specialize in nonprofit accounting have someone a leader in that position. And Edwin's job is to educate us internally about AI solutions, make our jobs better and more efficient, both from a client service delivery perspective, but also from a support team and operations perspective, but also use those experiences and his learning to get the word out to all nonprofit organizations about how they can use AI to grow and improve as at their organizations, for their organizations.
So if I'm thinking about the challenges that are confronting the nonprofit sector, and I think there's many, but I think this is a great starting point, is, technology in general and then AI in particular. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing is maybe a barrier to adoption, and also some of the more specific things that YPTC is doing to address that?
Yeah, just a few years ago, the vast majority of nonprofit organizations were paying their bills by paper check. During COVID and going online, many organizations converted to using a online bill pay system that we highly recommend. But there's still organizations out there, believe it or not, about 25% or more of our clients are still using paper checks, and we know that they're the smaller end of our clients, like the budget size of our clients. And that shouldn't be a barrier. I mean, everybody should be using an online bill pay system, but people have a hard time changing. And we hope to change that and turn everybody around into at least online bill pay, but also as we get into more sophisticated use of AI and automation. For example, automating the financial reporting process. We have our own product that we use, reports YPTC, and we also have our own AI product that we use, Chat YPTC, to help prepare our clients' financial statements, not only more efficiently, but to provide them with a better end product that they can use for decision-making purposes. Having those type of innovations and others, because we also use outside services to help us speed our work and other our in-house automations that we build ourselves. We are going to spend less time preparing monthly financial reports, and we bill by the hour. What does that mean? We might have less hours to bill, and that's okay with us. We can help more clients, and let's just say, and we can get more involved with our clients' strategic process, strategic planning, their cash management process, policies and procedures, budgeting and forecasting support. These are all things clients need that we can continue to help them with. So I'm not too worried at all about automation and AI speeding our work. And because most importantly, we're a human business. We are the human business, the human connection business. I mentioned before about our role in helping our executive directors that we serve succeed. And it's so important that we are that trusted advisor to that executive director, that they are comfortable coming to us with not just, hey, my balance sheet doesn't balance, or I'm having a problem covering my payroll in a few weeks, but bigger issues about what programs should I be focusing on from a financial standpoint. What information can we provide them for that? What do we look like 3 years from now from a financial standpoint? What other funding sources should we be looking into? So these are the type of problems that AI and automation are not going to solve, and that we will continue to help our clients with. And I'm super excited about that.
Me too. I heard a phrase probably last year that really sticks with me through all this. I think it's very applicable to us, which is that AI will not replace accountants, but it will replace accountants who don't adopt AI. And if you take it one step further, how we have been adopting and implementing internally and even in our work with clients, it very much ties into our culture. And like you said, that human-centered approach. We're not going to let AI replace us. We will not be handing clients AI-generated financial statements without human analysis and review. And I think the other piece of it for our people, as far as job satisfaction and that independence that you spoke of earlier, they want to be able to use their very smart brains to focus on those value-added services, which is that guidance, that, consultation to our clients. They don't want to, be futzing with spreadsheets and formulas and things like that. So I think it is a win-win for us.
They will still futz with spreadsheets.
There'll still
and
be
formulas.
some futzing.
Accountants, Jerilyn, we still have to do all that. No, I kid, but we will always be a human connected business, even though innovation and technology will enable us to do our work more efficiently.
What are some of the other challenges that you see facing the nonprofit sector, over the short term and then maybe, the next couple of years?
Well, funding is always going to be a challenge for every nonprofit organization, and ensuring that their streams keep going and thinking about what that future looks like for different funding streams, whether it's a federal award, whether it's a corporate contribution, or other fundraising activities that the organization performs, and if they are sustainable over time, and continuing to look at that. I would also say hiring and consistency, and I'll speak just very specifically to the accounting and finance areas of nonprofit organizations. It's certainly a challenge to hire and keep financial staff at a nonprofit organization. And I think that's where YPTC has been hugely successful in helping nonprofits find the right staffing as needed for their accounting and financial management needs. I would say hiring for us could be a challenge in the future. We know that there's an accounting shortage. You listeners or viewers, whoever out there, go back and watch the podcast that Jerilyn and I did could be a couple of years ago now, about the accounting shortage. Well, the accountant shortage, I should say. That hasn't changed. Continues to be accountant shortage. Individuals are not prone to go into the accounting career for many, many reasons. There's a lot of draw to tech and other areas of finance, but it also has to do with the barrier of the CPA rules. And there's a 150-hour requirement for reaching your CPA. So we potentially could have trouble hiring in the future, but I don't worry about that challenge because we continue to receive, honestly, thousands of resumes every month because we are a employer of choice. And as I mentioned before, have a very strong employee value proposition that we will continue to work on and make better every year and provide outstanding opportunities for our staff to grow as professionals.
So speaking of the future, if you fast forward our lives to 2029, so 5 years from now, what does YPTC look like in your mind?
Right now, we are a firm of about 750 individuals. I can see that growing, maybe even doubling by that time in 5 years from now, which seems like a long time, but not so long. I think if we continue to stick to our knitting, doing what we do best at YPTC, making nonprofits stronger through great financial management, we will be what I envisioned and I said before, the largest accounting firm in the country, helping nonprofits. And as I mentioned, continuing to help nonprofits grow and develop, even if they're not our clients. So I am so excited about the future for YPTC and for the nonprofit sector, because the nonprofits that we work with and the ones that we don't work with, that we encounter every day, they're doing great work. They're making the world a better place. And I'm just so proud to be part of this industry that does such great work every day.
I would wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment, Jen. So as we near the end of our time, are there any final thoughts, reflections, advice that you want to convey to our audience?
Going back to that beach tag checker 12-year-old, going from blanket to blanket and asking people for their beach tags.
No easy feat.
Not an easy feat. I would say have guts in everything that you do. There's a saying that we do hard things so that we can do hard things. Practice doing hard things so that when you encounter challenges, that it's not insurmountable. And the other advice I would give is raise your hand. When opportunities come, don't wait to be chosen. I did not wait to be chosen at YPTC. I raised my hand with Eric, our founder, and said, hey, let me help you grow and develop this business. And thank goodness, I'm so happy that he did say, yes, please do. Please help me. And I just don't wait and speak up. And I think that is some of the best advice I can give to anyone out there in their professional career to make it the best.
I love that. I've seen it. I've seen you foster that. I've done the same. So thank you for that encouragement. Jen, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. And thank you for being a good sport about flipping the cameras and the microphones and being the guest on the Mission Business Podcast.
Me as the guest on the Mission Business Podcast. I love it. Thank you, Jerilyn.
That was my conversation with Jennifer Alleva, CEO, sharing her strategic vision for Your Part-Time Controller, LLC. It's clear that exciting times are ahead for our firm, our employees, and our nonprofit clients. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Mission Business Podcast. We look forward to bringing you more stories of trends, hot topics, and innovation in the nonprofit sector. I want to thank the team at PWP Video for their guidance and assistance in the development and production of this podcast. They are a great partner for media with a mission, and you can find them at pwpvideo.com. Additional info about this episode can be found at missionbusinesspod.com. Follow us on social media at Mission Business Pod on Instagram and Facebook, and at Mission Biz Pod on X. I want to thank our guest, Jennifer Alleva, CEO of YPTC. This podcast was produced by Erica Blair and me, Jerilyn Dressler of Your Part-Time Controller, LLC. Dave Winston and Michael Schweisheimer are our producers from PWP Video, and the show was directed and edited by Pat Ganley. We'll see you here next time on Mission Business, presented by Your Part-Time Controller, LLC.